Hey guys, in this video I wanted to talk to you about my favorite AI coding tool, Roo Code, which is both free and open source. When I first installed Roo Code, I could not believe that a simple Visual Studio Code extension could transform my coding experience to that extent, all without costing me a single penny or requiring my credit card number. Some people think of Roo Code as the poor man's cursor because you can use Roo Code for free like I do a lot of the time, while Cursor is only free for students. However, in my opinion, Roo Code is better than Cursor. In this video, I'm going to show you some of the features I love about Roo Code, and I'll show you how to use it for free. I've just opened an empty directory in Visual Studio Code. Now let's take a look at the activity bar. You see this kangaroo? This is Roo Code. As you can see, it has a nice clean interface. If you want to get Roo Code installed on your Visual Studio Code too, all you gotta do is just go to the extension marketplace and just search for Roo Code. Click on it and hit install. Once you install Roo Code, you're going to see a kangaroo appear here, and when you click on it, you're going to see something a bit different from what I see right now. Roo is going to tell you that you need an API key in order to use it. Actually, how about I reset my Roo Code to factory settings, as I feel like this would be a good way to show you how to get started with Roo and how to connect an API key. All right, let's click on reset. Yes, I'm sure. I know it cannot be undone. Okay. Yep, that's the Roo Code I remember from first downloading it. Welcome to Roo Code. Roo Code is the premier autonomous coding agent. Get ready to architect, code, debug, and boost your productivity like you've never seen before. To continue, Roo Code requires an API key. And as you can see here, Roo tries to make your life easier by helping you quickly get an API key through a router like Requesty or OpenRouter. And while OpenRouter used to have a very generous free tier once upon a time, unfortunately these days are gone. So we will be getting an API key from Google Gemini. Gemini still has very generous free tiers. I love Google for that. Please keep it up, Google. To get a Gemini API key, all you gotta do is go to AI Studio. You might need to log in or create an account. Once you do, click on Get API Key. I already have an API key, but you know what? I'll delete it and we can create one together again. So I'll click on Create API Key. It says select a project from your existing Google Cloud projects. I'll just select Gemini API key and then click on Create API Key in existing project. I think sometimes you might not see this prompt. You'll just see a button that says Create API Key. Just click on it and then copy it. Now let's go back to Roo Code. Our API provider is Google Gemini, so let's select it. And now let's just paste the API key. Google Gemini has many different models that we can use. To learn more about them, we can go back to the Google AI Studio page where the chat is. And on the side, there's a drop-down menu with the different models. We can see each model's use cases as well as their free tier. So this model, Gemini 2.5 Flash, is good for reasoning over complex problems, amongst other things. And we get 10 requests per minute and 500 requests per day. If we look at Gemini Pro, its use cases are reasoning over complex problems, tackling difficult code, math, and STEM problems, and using the long context for analyzing large data sets, code bases, or documents. But it has a more limited free tier. Gemini 2.0 Lite is known as the model with the most generous free tier as far as I remember. It's good for coding, as one of the use cases for it is processing 10,000 lines of code. And as you can see, the free tier is 30 requests per minute and 1,500 requests per day. Which one should we choose? The 2.0 Lite has the most generous tier and it's good for processing code, but other models are really good at thinking and helping us plan. The good news is we don't have to choose. Let me show you. Let's first click on Let's Go. And now let's click on the settings wheel again. And what we're looking for is configuration profile. We can create as many configuration profiles as we want, which is extremely convenient. Let me just show you why. So let's create another profile and call it Coding Agent with generous free tier. Let's have the model associated with this profile be Gemini 2.0/001. Now, how about we create another configuration profile and let's call this one Thinking Buddy Limited Free Tier. I'm sure you can come up with better names. And let's associate this profile with Gemini 2.5 Flash Preview. Okay, let's save and click Done. Okay, now let's look down here. This part is one of my favorite things about Roo Code. It says here, Code, Architect, Ask, Debug, Orchestrator. What do you think those things are? If you're guessing that they're modes or jobs that Roo Code could pretend to have while doing different tasks, then you're right. To see how they work under the hood and even edit the prompts that make them act the way they do, you can go to prompts and check it out. Over here there is the roles definition, and as it says, it's where Roo's expertise and personality for this mode is described. So for the code mode, it says, you're Roo, a highly skilled software engineer with extensive knowledge in many programming languages, frameworks, design patterns, and best practices. And if you scroll down, you could check out the system prompt and read it all. You could also check out the prompts behind all the other modes. For example, Architect is an experienced technical leader who is inquisitive and an excellent planner. So when you're starting a project, a lot of the time you would like to summon the architect. And then we have Ask mode. Ask mode is a knowledgeable technical assistant who is focused on answering questions and providing information on software development, technology, and related topics. Debug is an expert software debugger specializing in systematic problem diagnosis and resolution. Orchestrator is a strategic workflow orchestrator who coordinates complex tasks by delegating them to appropriate specialized modes. Orchestrator is the newest addition to the Roo Code team, and as far as I know, it's quite a hit. People love it. A very cool thing that you can do to help you make the most of your models and highly improve your coding workflow is assigning different AI models to different modes. So for the code mode, we could use the coding agent with the generous free tier. And with the architect, we could use Thinking Buddy. And for Ask, Debug, and Orchestrator, I would like to encourage you to play around with different models and see which one you like best. It's actually quite interesting to test different models. Okay, what do you guys say we see Roo in action? Let's begin with Architect mode. How about we try to create a calculator? I'll just type make a calculator. This is not a great example of a prompt. Okay, so now it's asking what kind of calculator would you like to make? I'm going to choose a web-based calculator with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, so now it's creating a plan. Okay. So it will be using eval, which if I remember correctly is a security risk if we don't make sure to sanitize the input first. Shouldn't we sanitize the input? Okay, so now it said, before performing any calculations, ensure that the input string only contains valid numbers, operators, and decimal point. This will prevent malicious code injections or unexpected behavior if eval is used. Okay, cool. I am pleased with the plan. Please proceed. Okay, so now it's asking if I would like it to write this plan in a markdown file. I'm going to say yes. Okay, I'm just going to hit save. Okay, now it wants to switch to code mode. goes the planning is complete and the user has approved the plan. Okay, you can switch to code mode. Actually, let's set auto approve to read and write. So now it's not gonna keep asking us if it's okay every time it does something. It's just gonna do everything, and all we gotta do is just watch. Okay, it's done. So I know that if I run this command, it's not gonna work and I'm gonna get an error. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is just right click, reveal in Finder. Okay, and right click, open. All right, looks like we have a calculator. Oh, let's see if it works as it should. So 7, where's the 7? Oh, it's showing too much to the right. Why is that? Let's go to styles.css. Okay, it has text align set to right and padding to 10x. Maybe we could remove text align right. Okay, let's refresh. And let's try, oh, cool, that fixed it. 4 times 2, 8, nice. 1 plus 7, 8, good. All right, 9 times 3, 27, yay, looks like our calculator works. Of course, with vibe coding, not all models are made equal. Like some models are noticeably better than others. You will notice the limitations of each model the more you use it, and especially if you ask it to create more complex tasks. Either way, make sure to check the code that AI writes, because like you've seen earlier, when we were using architect mode to plan our project, Roo proposed running eval without sanitizing the input first, which is a huge no-no from a security standpoint. So please make sure to go through the code and make sure that best practices, at least when it comes to security, are being implemented. So the features that I've shown you so far are the features that got me excited about Roo Code when I first tried it. Now I would like to show you features that are very handy for everyday use. Okay, so let's put Roo on ask mode first of all. And then let's highlight any code block or any line. I'm gonna highlight the calculate function and then click on the light bulb and then explain with Roo Code. As you can see, Roo gives you an explanation. I feel like this is very handy for when you want to understand code you haven't written yourself. Let's start a new task. So another thing I love is you can highlight code and you can click on add to Roo Code. And then you can ask AI to help you with this particular code block. You can ask it to add to it. You can ask it to do whatever. Of course, there is more to love about Roo. However, one of my favorite things about it is that the community behind it is very dedicated and they're constantly improving it and adding to it, which I think is absolutely beautiful and inspiring. And with this, I would like to end the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments. And I would love to hear your thoughts on Roo Code. Please also write that down in the comments. See you in the next video. Bye!